Day 3 of the Diddy trial. The testimony continues for Cassie, and we have some more details that have come out, as well as we now know how much she was paid by Diddy for that settlement that he did in 24 hours after she filed her lawsuit in November of 2023. And we are just in the beginning of this trial. I can't imagine what more is going to be coming out. I'm clutching my invisible pearls. Let me know what you think. Come on in. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and welcome to Aries Rose TV. Here we talk about pop culture, world news, TV shows, movies, streaming shows, politics, basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. And we are keeping track of the Diddy trial. So since Cassie filed that lawsuit in November of 2023, I have been following what's been going on with Diddy here. And this is the trial everybody has been waiting for. To be honest with you, I didn't even think it was going to get to the point that it was going to go to trial. I thought he was going to settle before, just so that the details that have been coming out in this trial would not come out. So he may have some opportunity to salvage his public image. But it looks like he's going all in because Diddy does not believe that he is guilty. And what the charges are, he may or may not be. The trial's still in the beginning stages, so we don't know. But he is not on trial for what he did to Cassie or for that video that CNN had released. He is on trial for some different charges, but it's my understanding that the prosecution is having Cassie come and testify because they're kind of laying the foundation to say how this is somehow a racketeering type of situation that Diddy had set up. So we're going to go into some details that were discussed here that Cassie provided about her experience with these freak-offs and things that happened to her body as a result of it. Also, more information came out about the relationship with Diddy, some different things that occurred between them as well. So get your popcorn, get your water, get your tea, get your soda, get your drink, and let's get into it. Before we do go any further, if you are part of the Aries crew, you know the drill. If you've been on a live before, leave hashtag Aries crew in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by, spending part of your day here. If you are a first time watcher, leave first time watcher in the comments. I want to give you a shout out as well. Like the video as you come in. It goes a long way. It's a free way to support and it means a lot. And we are going to get into it. Trigger warning. This is adult content that we are going to be talking about. We are going to be using some different words that are more YouTube friendly when stuff is going to be going into a zone of stuff that we can't talk about. But this is very adult content. So beware. I have to tell you, this was nothing I thought was going on in the relationship between Diddy and Cassie. So just hearing these details have just got my mouth on the floor. Like, I don't know how she stayed that long because it just sounds like it was a wild experience, a little bit much for me. We'll take a pause here for a couple comments. We got Lucretia on here. Welcome. If you're a first-time watcher, thanks for letting me know. And Annalise, welcome. Hope you're having a good day and a good week so far. Let's get into our first story here. Cassie Ventura says there was a painful physical side effect from all the freak-offs Diddy had her doing with male escorts. UTI, urinary tract infections. The singer testified in court today, Wednesday. She would take substances after the freak-offs to numb herself from the very painful UTIs. Cassie told the jury the UTIs would give her a burning sensation, and she got them so often that antibacterial medication stopped working and she needed more powerful pills and turned to substances, which is awful to say the least. I'm just amazed that there were so many things that Diddy had this person doing, but they were in a relationship. So it just seems like moving a relationship with someone you love. I get to each their own, but wanting to have such an open relationship where things like that are being done with people who are not a part of it, I just feel like you're opening yourself up to, you don't know what those people have or what they could potentially give you. So, I mean, it's a danger to yourself and your partner when you guys are engaging as well. So my heart goes out to her for sure. She testified she would also get sores on her tongue from all of the intercourse that was being done by mouth during the freak offs, and she raised the issues of sores in her mouth and UTIs with Diddy. To me, when it's getting that far, something is wrong. Obviously, somebody's got some unclean stuff, and that's how these things are happening, and that's when we need to put the kibosh down, because that's now a danger to your health. But we'll see if that was the way that Diddy interpreted that when he got that information. Cassie told the jury she also needed massages, IV fluids, and food to recover from freak offs. She said she tried to avoid kissing the male ex-workers because it seemed too intimate, but Diddy would tell her to kiss them. Cassie testified Diddy even asked her to do a freak off on her 29th birthday, pulling her out of the Blind Dragon karaoke bar in West Hollywood and using his security team to take her to the freak off. Now, why that needed to be done on her 29th birthday is just very strange to me, because that's her birthday. So if that's what she wanted to do and that's how she wants to spend it, that's one thing. But you telling somebody how they're going to spend their birthday on their birthday is kind of wild to me. She talked about some of the aftermath from Diddy's 2016 assault on her in a hotel hallway. The full unedited 15-minute long video was shown in court and is now released. You can see that video on TMZ. There's other outlets as well that are showing that video, which does look a little bit different than the one that was out on CNN. So I'm not sure if that CNN one was edited or not, but it's longer and it doesn't quite go the way that the CNN video went. So I could understand why Diddy brought that up as a point of concern, or at least his legal team had brought that up as a point of concern initially, having seen this 15-minute unedited one. And she testified Diddy tried to lure her back by telling her he was getting arrested. Cassie and prosecutors read some text messages in court. They said a message from Diddy read, quote, "Please call, I'm surrounded," end quote. Cassie testified she texted back, quote, "Please stay away from me," end quote. And Diddy responded, quote, "I'm getting arrested," end quote. Diddy was not arrested. She told the jury Diddy would get physically violent with her at freak offs too, sometimes in the presence of the male escort they hired. She said the escorts would ask her how she was doing after Diddy put his hands on her, and she says the violence happened, quote, "too frequently," end quote, in places like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. Cassie has not been examined yet, but Diddy's defense has said the freak-offs were consensual. I can't even imagine what the cross-examination is going to look like from the defense towards her. I hope she's ready for that. I don't know if they're not going to be maybe as tough as they would be or appear that way because she is pregnant, and that's going to be a bad look if they look like they're drilling and being rude to a woman who's carrying a child, very obviously pregnant woman carrying a child. But they also have a job to do for their client who is paying them to do their best to get him off. So I hope she's ready. I hope her husband's ready. My hat is off to her husband listening to this stuff being discussed in court about your spouse. That's got to be tough because this is such a sensitive subject and nobody wants to hear about their partner being with other people, let alone under the circumstances this was occurring. So my hat is off to him. I hope they have a very strong foundation in their relationship. I wonder if she gave him a heads up and he kind of knew things that were going to be talked about here, so that's not a shock when it is discussed. You know, I'm very curious to know about that, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you be comfortable as a spouse hearing your spouse talk about these things that she's discussing in this courtroom? Definitely want to get that conversation going and get your opinion on that. And let's get into some more. Let's get into some more stories here. So we got another one. This is TMZ reporting. Diddy threatened to release freak off video. So Cassie Ventura says Diddy had blackmail material on her, namely videos from their freak offs. And she says they made her feel trapped. She testified Wednesday Diddy would hold the freak off footage over her head as a way to hurt her and make her fearful. Cassie told the jury she had previously told Diddy she didn't want to do freak offs and that on a commercial flight to New York In June 2013, he sat next to her and played her freak off videos of her on his laptop and threatened to release them. She testified the threat made her feel trapped, and that when they landed in New York, they went to dinner where Diddy told her he wanted to have a freak off, and so they did. Prosecutors asked why she went along with the freak off, and Cassie said, quote, to make him not threaten me, end quote. Prosecutors said in their opening statement, Diddy threatened to release the videos if she did not participate. They are clearly trying to prove this was one way Diddy coerced Cassie into doing the freak-offs. In last year's indictment of Diddy, feds described freak-offs as, quote, elaborate and produced X performances that Combs arranged, directed, pleasured himself during, and often electronically recorded, end quote. She also told the jury Diddy once threatened to release the videos while she was dating someone else. She said she would have to answer to her mother, and Diddy's threats were horrible and disgusting. Cassie told the jury Diddy kept the videos on his phone. She said she sent him a text telling him to delete the footage. She read a text message she sent to Diddy in July 2013. Quote, please delete the videos off your phone. Too many people have access to your devices, end quote. Cassie testified Diddy responded, no, iCloud, all good, Ambien kicking in, end quote. She told the jury she reached out to Diddy after being told there was actually explicit video of her in it that was floating around, and she says he had his security team intimidate her. So it looks like she found some of that footage had gotten out, and maybe through the grapevine somebody let her know, hey, we're seeing your stuff out here, that's out there. And in response, she says Diddy had his team try to intimidate her. I don't know what is true or what is not, but I'm sure she's speaking her truth to what her experience was like with him. Let me know if you think that Diddy can come back and make a comeback from this, or do you think the court of public opinion, his persona, his whole thing is just it's a done deal. He'll never probably be back in good graces. Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to keep this conversation going. I'm wondering if he can be redeemed after this case is all over, or if it's kind of like a done deal for how people are going to be feeling about him. And we're going to go into the next story here. And I'm going to try to touch on something else other than the Diddy trial as well. But we want to definitely get these highlights because this is one of the biggest trials. This is not something I ever thought that we'd get to. So this is definitely got the world watching, and I'm trying to keep track of all the updates from different people who are in the courtroom and able to see and hear the testimony that's going on, so we can make sure we bring you the information here. And if you have not already done so, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It's free to join. We'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. And make sure you have your notifications on after you subscribe so you can find out every time I go live, post videos, and post on the community page. We have fun over here, and we'd love for you to be a part of that. And now we're going to go into further reporting from TMZ here, where Cassie was identifying male escorts that they've worked with in the past for these freak-offs that they've done. More is being revealed by the minute on day 3 of the Diddy ex-trafficking trial. Federal prosecutors broke out photographs of 3 ex-workers and 1 victim and showed them all to the 12 jurors. Assistant United States Attorney Emily Johnson displayed the faces of the ex-workers / victims on monitors for the jurors, starting with the picture of victim Mia, who was allegedly raped by Diddy. Then Johnson showed the jury 2 more photos, one of ex-worker Jules and another of Jules and Cassie together. A 4th photo showed Cassie and male escort Dave, as well as a 5th photo of Cassie and another ex-worker named Greg. Wow, excuse me for a moment. That is quite a few here. And prosecutors also introduced 2 additional photos of Cassie, with one showing her looking disheveled while sitting on a sofa in high heels after a freak-off. The 7th and last photo was a picture of Cassie covered in baby oil with lit candles and lubrication bottles behind her. After viewing the 7th photo, one juror cleared his throat as if he were uncomfortable. I can't imagine what this jury is seeing. I also hear they're going to be playing freak off videos or a freak off video, and just the jury's going to see that. I'm sure they're like, I don't know what I signed up for. This is crazy. I have no idea what's going to be on that video, who is going to be on that video, but they say Diddy had, recording devices in all of these rooms. So, let's hope it's not somebody else whose private, intimate moments are going to be put out. At least these 12 jurors to see that maybe did not intend for this to be visible for other people. Take a quick drink of water here. And we're going to get back into the reporting. All the photos were put on display during day 2 of Cassie's testimony at Diddy's trial. As you know, Diddy's potentially facing decades behind bars if convicted on charges of racketeering, ex-trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Some of the highlights in Cassie's testimony today included her accusing Diddy of raping her after they broke up, and Diddy threatening her after he found out she was hooking up with Kid Cudi. She also testified she suffered painful UTIs from all the freak-offs Diddy allegedly forced her to engage with male escorts. Day 4 of Cassie's testimony resumes Thursday morning when the defense gets their shot at cross-examining her. So I will definitely be following all the updates on Thursday so we can find out what questions the defense is going to have, how they're going to poke holes in the stuff that the prosecution has already questioned her on and discussed. And let's get into this. I seen some further stuff that was posted about Kid Cudi, so we're going to go into that one. And this one is Diddy flipped over my Kid Cudi relationship. And this is also reporting from TMZ. Cassie Ventura says Diddy freaked out on her after finding out she was hooking up with Kid Cudi, threatening her with a wine opener and telling her he would release a video on Christmas showing her participating in a freak-off. Wow. On Christmas? The threats he was doing to her is wild because, according to her, this was not something that she wanted to do, but he wanted her to be with other people. So she had to set that up. According to her, that became a job. So she spent pretty much all her time doing that. Now, mind you, she was signed to Bad Boy for a 10-album deal. People say that's not per se normal in the industry to do that. And she wasn't even an established hit maker at the time that happened. She had the one song, Me and You. And to this day, that's the only one song that I know from Cassie. I'm not saying that at that moment he might not have saw potential, but I don't know if he saw potential or just saw relationship potential and wanted to lock her in so that she would just be, associated and have to deal with him for business. It's hard to say what the motivations were behind that. But be that as it may, it doesn't sound like the focus of their relationship was music. Now, Diddy is a music producer. He met her on the purpose of being a singer, entertainer. We can use singer loosely on that one if you want to, but that was what she was supposedly supposed to be. And she also, could dance. And that wasn't what it sounded like he was developing. He wanted to turn her into, I guess, his ideal woman, or make her do things that he thought she should be doing or that he wanted to see her do. So it's strange to me that you want her to be with other men, and then when she's kind of, that's not really what I'm into, I don't want to do that, or I'm having negative side effects from this, you get mad, you want to threaten her to tell her she still has to continue to do that, and then you get mad when she wants to go and date somebody else. Very bizarre to me, because I'm like, this whole relationship seems to be open for her to be with other people. I don't know, it sounds crazy to me. just my thoughts on it. I'm really surprised that that bothered him, because I feel like he was setting up their whole relationship with a third party being involved. So it's a little bit weird to get mad about that. But let's keep going on to the reporting here. The singer testified in court Wednesday that Diddy found out she was seeing Kid Cudi in 2011 when he went through her phone during a freak-off. Cassie told the jury Diddy found an email about Cassie taking her toiletry bag to Kid Cudi's place, and he put a wine opener in his hand and threatened her. She testified she called Kid Cudi on a burner phone and went to his house, where she talked with one of Diddy's assistants, Capricorn Clark. Cassie told the jury later she went to the home Diddy was staying at, and Diddy told her he would release freak-off videos of her as a way to hurt her and Kid Cudi. She testified Diddy kicked her in the back, causing a bruise, so she went back to the hotel, but the room was torn up and someone had urinated all over the floor and left an unflushed number 2 in the toilet. What is really going on here? Cassie said all this happened before Christmas 2011, and she sent an email to her mother and Capricorn Clark on a flight telling them that Diddy was going to release 2 sexually explicit videos, including one on Christmas Day. So she must have really believed that was going to happen if she told her mom. Because I don't know anybody that would want to tell their mom they were engaging in that type of behavior unless they absolutely had to. So she must have really felt like he was going to do something and just wanted to say something to them first. Photographs were shown to the jury, and Cassie testified they show bruises on her back and that her mother took the pics when she had gone home to Connecticut. Cassie testified she told her mom it was the first time Diddy abused her, but in reality, the abuse had been ongoing. She previously told the jury about the first time Diddy hit her, and she said it happened in 2007 in a car. Cassie testified she shrugged her shoulders at Diddy after she noticed him flirting with someone else inside a restaurant, and he beat her once they got in their car. Cassie said Diddy knocked her around inside the car and that Diddy's chauffeur and security guard were present. She told jurors Diddy hit her on the side of the head, knocking her to the car floor. Wow. She also testified about other instances of violence, saying she hit Diddy for calling her a name, possibly a loose woman or a female dog. Diddy's defense said the relationship had DV on both sides. Cassie told the jury that after she hit Diddy, his eyes went black and he repeatedly stomped her face with his foot. Wow. Leaving her with a swollen face and causing her to vomit. She said he snuck her out of his house and put her up in a hotel for a week and kept everyone from seeing her except her stylist. She testified she didn't want to stay at the hotel, but Diddy told her she could not leave and she needed to cover her face. Wow. Like, I'm at a loss. I am at a loss here. He's innocent until proven guilty, and he's not on trial for DV or any of these particular acts that she's talking about. But to hear it, it's not a good look, and especially daughters of his own, and I can only imagine that he would not want to have any of his daughters coming back and telling him that was happening to them. So the fact that he was with her when she was so young exposed her to things she had no experience with or real way to understand, and then subject her to that kind of mental and physical abuse. It's very sad. I don't know that I would ever be able to look at Diddy the same way before that lawsuit was filed by Cassie, and if you ask me when I saw pictures of them or what I thought their relationship was like, I thought she was living on top of the world. You have one of the richest men in hip hop. He was very established, well-known, popular. He was out there. He liked to party. He was known for throwing, really nice parties. Always dressed well, carried himself really nicely. And I always felt like the women that he was with were beautiful, always carried themselves well. So I thought she was living the life, wearing nice clothes, getting beautiful bags, just getting to shop and chill, all day. And I was thinking, wow, what luck is that? You went for a music career and he saw something else in you and you kind of went a different way. I don't know if she would have had a bigger music career if he put more energy into it. You know, who knows? It will never go that way. And I don't know that she's into still doing anything in the music industry as of right now. She seems really happy with her family, and I haven't heard of her doing any other type of musical stuff. But it just sounds like it was nothing like what it looked like on the outside, and she was just living in this horrible kind of like mental and physical jail, prison, if you will, that she just could not escape. And my heart goes out to her. I mean, this is why when there's large age gaps in between relationships, he was 37 at the time they met and she was 19. Like, that's a red flag. You got to stay away from that. You haven't lived long enough. You don't know the game like they do. It's just, and that's the same way I feel about with Shannon Sharpe when he was dealing with a 19-year-old who was turning 20 and he's in his early 50s. That's way too young. It's way too young. Let it go. Let it go. You can still go younger, and you don't have to go that young. If you want to go younger, go in the mid-20s if you're in your 37. Go in the early 30s. That's still younger than you. But these young girls who are just coming into adulthood, steer clear of that. And same to them. Steer clear of older men when you got these 20, 30, 40, 50-year age gaps in between. Don't do it. You got plenty of time. Leave it alone, because none of this sounds good. And not every single relationship that has an age gap is obviously got this kind of stuff going on. This is probably the exception, not the rule. But it just sounds like it's easier to get into these situations when you're younger and somebody you're dealing with is older, because you just have a lack of knowledge that only time can fill in for. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Do you think age gaps are acceptable? You know, how far apart do you think that the men and women should be, and that's okay? Or how far apart do you think people should be in their relationship age-wise? That's okay. Definitely want to keep that conversation going. And the last part I want to talk about related to the Diddy case here is now we know how much was paid in that 24-hour settlement after she filed that lawsuit in November 2023. And if you ask me, I'm betting as Diddy is sitting in jail, he probably wished he would have just dealt with her before she filed that lawsuit, because his life may be very different right now if he didn't call her bluff and paid her what she wanted before, or was open to conversations. I don't know where the breakdown happened where she ended up filing that lawsuit, but it definitely, I think, hurt Diddy allowing it to get to that point. But let's get into this settlement information here. This is also reporting by TMZ. One of the biggest mysteries in the Diddy Cassie saga was answered at the music mogul's federal criminal trial Wednesday. Cassie settled her lawsuit against Diddy for a whopping $20 million. So I was hearing $30 million. So $20 million is not that far off. So some people had some really good guesses here, you know, $10 million difference, but still. So that's a pretty nice payday. I don't know that that makes up for all the mental and physical trauma that you went through, and, you know, different things that were effects of that, or, you know, even to this day, you can't seem to get away from the man. But it's a pretty penny, and it's a Funky Dineva who always says, pay me for my pain. And I would say 20 million is paying her for the pain that she experienced. But let me know if you think 20 million was getting off cheap, or if 20 million, you know, she was owed that, or if she should have been paid more. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments on that. Let's keep the conversation going there. Let's get back into the story. Federal prosecutor Emily Johnson was grilling Cassie on day 2 of her testimony at Diddy's ex-trafficking trial in NYC when the questioning turned to a book she wrote about the alleged abuse she suffered at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs, her former longtime boyfriend. Cassie testified that her mom helped her write a book with chapters which she wanted Diddy to read. She testified she sent the chapters to Diddy through her attorney, but Diddy didn't take her book seriously. When Johnson inquired about how much she wanted for the book, Cassie said she asked for $30 million. Johnson then asked if Cassie sued Diddy, and Cassie responded she did in November 2023 and ended up settling the lawsuit for $20 million within 24 hours. And that will never be forgotten, let me tell you. As we previously reported, Cassie filed a 2023 suit in federal court accusing the Bad Boy Records CEO of raping her for years earlier and forcing her to engage in freak-offs during their 10-year relationship. Federal prosecutors define a freak-off as a, quote, elaborate and produced X performances that Combs arranged, directed, and pleasured himself during and often electronically recorded, end quote. In December 2024, prosecutors charged Diddy in an indictment with racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy is currently in the second week of his trial, in which Cassie is giving testimony about their tumultuous romance. And tomorrow she's going to be cross-examined by the defense. So I'm going to be dialed into that. So make sure you have your notifications on and you're subscribed to the page so you can get all your Diddy updates here. If you aren't already doing so, follow me on Instagram at Aries Rose TV. I'll follow you back. We're also posting over there as well. We're trying to grow that Instagram page. So come on over if you're there. Check me out on there. Again, that's at Aries Rose TV on Instagram. And we are going to go into our last story for today, non-Diddy related story. And then tomorrow, in addition to what the defense is going to be cross-examining Cassie on, we're also going to talk about a few other stories because we got some other things we got to catch up on, like the tariffs with China and the United States. They've been lowered for a 90-day period, which is great because it was 145% tariffs that the U.S. was charging on Chinese items, and then China was charging the U.S. 25% tariff on items coming from the United States. So they got a 90-day kind of cool-off period where that's been reduced. So we got to talk about that. We also need to talk about some other stuff that's been going on in the news as well. There's more happening than just the Diddy trial, but that is my focus because I have been following this since we first heard he was arrested in an MDC and the trial was going to be moving forward. And this one is really sad. So it's going to be about DDG and Halle Bailey. And if I say Haley, I'm sorry because I really confuse it. So I do mean Halle. And this one was really sad. So I remember when there were reports that came out that she was pregnant, and that was kind of denied. They didn't really say anything about it. So I didn't think it was any truth to it. And then later on, she came out and confirmed she had a baby by showing, I want to say it was like her little baby's hand. It had a little bracelet that said Halo. And their son is so cute. So cute. And I wanted them to have a beautiful relationship. I saw them as a young Black family that was growing, coming into their own. DDG is a successful social media. I want to say he does Twitch. I'm not that familiar with it, but if you know that, let me know. I'm sure he's on YouTube as well, and he's got a lot of followers. Does very well on there. And then Halle, of course, is an actress and a singer as well. She played the Little Mermaid in the Disney live-action remake, and I thought she did a phenomenal job. And it sounds like since they've broken up, their co-parenting relationship seems a little bit strained. And now it's gone up to another level. So let's get into the story from TMZ here. It's saying Halle Bailey claims DDG abused her multiple times and gets a RTO restraining order. And let's talk about that. Halle Bailey says she's had enough of DDG allegedly abusing her. She's filed a police report and now she wants court-ordered protection from the father of her child, TMZ has learned. In docs filed Tuesday in LA, she claims things first got physical in January. They broke up back in October, and Halle says DDG came over to pick up their son Halo, and she tried to start a convo with the rapper about a child visitation schedule. As she was buckling Halo into the car seat, she claims DDG grew agitated and repeatedly said, quote, "Get out of my car, female dog," end quote. Halle says the baby was crying and she got nervous about DDG leaving with him in such an agitated state. I can understand that. That's when they allegedly started wrestling, with DDG pulling her hair, slamming her face on his steering wheel, and chipping her tooth, which she did show a picture of her tooth being chipped. Halle says she was in pain and crying, and although that stopped the fighting, she was still worried about Halo, so she remained in the car for the ride over to DDG's house, where she told his family what happened. Ooh. Once they told her they take care of the baby, she left hysterical and with bruises on her arms to go along. With her chipped tooth, she attached photos of her alleged injuries in her request for a restraining order. It's awful that it's just, gotten to this level. She also alleges DDG creeped her out in March when he showed up at her house, entered without permission, went to her bedroom, and texted a pic of Halle's empty bed to her, along with a text, quote, "Now I know what you've been on, LOL," end quote. Halle says she interpreted the text as DDG accusing her of having intercourse with other people. 4 days later, she claims he really exploded when he came back to her house. Halle told him she and the baby were sick and she didn't want Halo to leave home. She claims that's when he got verbally abusive, smashed her Ring camera, and ran away with Halle's phone. As he drove off, she claims DDG threw the phone out of his window and yelled to her, quote, "Go get it, female dog," end quote. The incident prompted Halle to go file a police report, and she says she also has Ring footage to back up her side of the story. It was also around this time DDG claimed on X he, quote, been fighting to see Halo, end quote, for months. For Halle, though, the final straw came just last weekend when she says she was vacationing with Halo and her sister in St. Lucia. She says DDG texted her links to social media posts claiming she was on the island with singer Brent Faiyaz. Not familiar. Let me know if you know who Brent Faiyaz is. Halle replied, quote, "Not with any man out here. I wouldn't do that. I have Halo. Please let me enjoy my Mother's Day in peace. I hope you are okay and feel better soon," end quote. And that's how you answer that. I like that. The judge granted Halle a domestic violence restraining order requiring DDG to stay 100 yards away and gave her permission to take nearly 18-month-old Halo to Italy, where she'll be filming a movie for 2 months. DDG also has to stop posting or streaming about her and their child. Halle claims her ex has been whipping his fans into a frenzy by trashing her when he live streams. Wow. That just hurts me to see where their relationship is, where their relationship has gone. And I don't know, kind of what happens from here for them, but I'm praying for them and I wish them all the best, because they do share a child together and they will be in each other's lives at least until that child is 18, and I'm hoping that they can find a way to coexist that's positive and healthy for both of them and for their child, because the child needs both their parents in their life. It looks like DDG did post, "I'm chilling, by the way," in response to that. So, and he's like, he'll be streaming later, gotta keep going. That's not a direct quote, that's paraphrasing. So it looks like as of right now, not making a massive statement on it, but we're definitely going to keep track of that situation. Very unfortunate to hear about another relationship where things are going bad and potentially physical interaction, physical violence was taking place here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about the stories that we discussed today. Definitely want to keep the conversation going and get the feedback from my Aries crew. If there's any videos or topics you'd like me to talk about, you can comment here, or you can comment on the community page. If it's something I could find information on, we'll definitely be happy to do it. Can't do every story, maybe everything, but we'll see what we can do. If you have not already done so, please like the video, share this live out with family and friends. It's a free way to support the channel and it means a lot. It goes a long way. We're trying to get to 1,800 subscribers here by June, so we'd appreciate support. You can help us to get to that goal. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be live tomorrow, Thursday. We're going to be talking about the cross-examination from the defense to Cassie for this Diddy trial. Follow us on Instagram at Aries Rose TV will be posting updates there as well. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, whichever it may be from when you're watching. Take care.